everyone! The teacher for this message is Seraphim, my angelic spirit guides, and Xavier, my galactic spirit guides. So when I change guides, I will come off of that channel from Seraphim and then I will go back in to attune to Xavier, and then Xavier will give their message. The title of this teaching is How to Overcome Poverty Consciousness. So let's get started. We welcome you all today to receive this very important message that will assist you in ascending through your timeline. What we are addressing today is we are addressing what you call poverty consciousness. So that is what you call it on the earth plane, but we are going to give it a different name for this message. For this message, what you are overcoming is you are overcoming claiming your worthiness. You are overcoming claiming your worthiness. When you say that thing is too expensive for me, what you are really saying is, I am not worthy of that thing. When you are saying that that job makes too much money for my skill set, what you are really saying is, I am not worthy of the salary of that job. So we will teach you today how to overcome what you call poverty consciousness by assisting you in claiming your worthiness. By assisting you in claiming your worthiness. So let us begin. What is the first thing you need to do in order to overcome what you call poverty consciousness? Well, we gave you the big picture, and the big picture is that you need to claim your worthiness, but claiming your worthiness has several steps. And the first step is to honor yourself. When you say that thing is too expensive for me, so I will not get it, yes, you are saying I'm not worthy of that thing, but the reason you say that, one of the root causes of what you say that is because you don't honor yourself. Do you see this? You can't claim your worthiness if you don't honor yourself. You can't claim your worthiness if you don't honor yourself. So the first thing you need to do is you need to honor yourself. It may seem like it's easy to say, I will just force myself to be worthy of that thing. But if you force yourself to be worthy of that thing, you will not address the root cause. So you will overcome it in this moment when you procure that thing, but you cannot become comfortable with yourself over the long haul. And in these messages, we want to set you up for success over the long term. So, if it is today that you don't feel worthy of that thing yet, let it be okay. And then follow these steps until you are okay to procure that thing that you think is too expensive. Or to apply for that job that you think makes too much money. So, the first step, as we said before, is to honor yourself. When you have difficulty claiming your worthiness, one of the main root causes is that you have difficulty honoring yourself. You work, and then you are never grateful for the work that you do. You do, and you don't say good job for your hard work. And you keep going, working, doing, and you don't ever say, hey, I did good today. Hey, I did well today. Hey, I worked hard today. And because I worked hard today, I deserve a break. Because I worked hard today, I deserve a treat. Because I worked hard today, I'm going to honor myself. So it is that you need to stop working, and doing without honoring yourself. So if you have been doing this for most of your life, or you have been doing this for many lifetimes, lifetime over lifetime, we're going to tell you a method that will assist you in overcoming your difficulty honoring yourself. So we want to say that as a bonus, this thing you call the imposter syndrome is the root cause of this imposter syndrome is also a difficulty honoring yourself. So if you feel that you have imposter syndrome, then the methods we give you today the methods we give you today will also assist you in overcoming that. So, this method is for you to honor everything you should be proud of. The reason you don't honor yourself is because you are not aware you should be proud of yourself. You got up this morning, despite the fact that the day before you had a 14 or 12-hour day. But you got up the next morning. The vast majority of you, nearly all of you watching this video, have never honored yourself for getting up in the morning after you have worked a 12-hour day. You just think it's something you had to do, and you do it. I must do this. But if you think of yourself as a third party, how would you like to be this other person's boss? Expect them to work a 12-hour day, get up in the morning, and get to work at 8 or 9 a.m., and then you greet them by saying you had to be here anyway. And for them not to thank you for your hard work the day before, your 12-hour day the day before, without complaint. If you were that other person, would you not feel disrespected? Would you not feel dishonored? Would you not feel like you're not seen? You would, wouldn't you? And then you would start complaining to yourself. People don't appreciate me. People are not grateful for me. My boss doesn't appreciate me. And that's true, he doesn't. He or she doesn't. And he or she didn't appreciate you. And he or she should have acknowledged, we know we had a long day the day before, but we're almost done with this project or whatever it is. And I'm grateful for your hard work. And we will celebrate our hard work after we're done. This way, your boss is telling you, I see you for your efforts. I see you for your efforts. And I honor you and I acknowledge you. When you see it between two people, you can clearly see how dishonoring it is not to honor yourself day in and day out for the hard work you did for the prior day. But when we collapse those two persons into one, nearly all of you cannot recognize that you're the boss and the employee at the same time. Nearly all of you cannot recognize you're the boss and the employee at the same time. And so it is that, how can you expect the aspect of you that is the employee to claim their worthiness when the aspect of you that's the boss doesn't honor them? In this metaphor, the boss is the adult aspect of you, and the employee is the inner child, is your inner child. So we hope you see now how the method we are about to teach you can be very efficacious. Now, when you collapse the adult in you and the inner child in you, the boss and the employee in our little story, you can now see how can you be a better adult to your inner child? How can you be a better boss to the employee? You can be by waking up that morning after a 12-hour day that says, you did good yesterday. We see you, we recognize you, and we honor you. And we will get a break very, very soon, this weekend or after whatever you're working on is done. Many of you who are parents, mothers and fathers alike, work 12 to 14-hour days regularly, because you may work a regular job and then you care for children and you never have time for yourselves. And your attitude is that you chose this when you chose to have children. Yes, you did. In the same way, the employee decided to procure that job. But when the employee procures the job, do they have to have a boss that doesn't honor them? So we say the same to you who have these kinds of objections or similar ones. Do you have to be that kind of boss to yourself? Do you have to be that kind of boss to your inner child, where you refuse to see yourself? Yes, you chose this, but why don't you choose to be a better adult to the inner child? Why don't you choose to be a better boss to the inner child by saying, I see your hard work, I honor your hard work, you did good yesterday, you did good today, or whatever the case may be. So we know some of you may think it is silly, but the fastest way to overcome a difficulty honoring yourself is to honor yourself for every little thing that you do. When you wake up the next morning, honor yourself for the day before. If you have cooked breakfast for a family of 4 or whatever the case may be, honor yourself for the hard work of doing that, of preparing that meal, of nourishing an entire family. If you have turned in a report at work, honor yourself for a job well done. And when the parts of you that says, well, this could have been better, or that could have been better, yes, but time is not infinite on your plane. Did you try your best every minute, every hour you worked on that project? If the answer is yes, then you need to honor yourself. If the answer is yes, then you need to honor yourself. I did good. I did good. I tried my best I tried my best for that project and I did good. If you finish a work day, honor yourself. Today was a hard day at work, or today was a productive day at work. I did good today. I showed up. I showed up as my best self. Despite any difficulty I may have had to do that, and I showed up. And honor yourself. So honor yourself for every major and minor thing that you did. And soon enough, you will overcome your difficulty honoring yourself. So that is that. So the next thing we want to teach you is that another root cause of difficulty claiming yourself is perfectionism. Perfectionism has many variations. Another way to say perfectionism is when it's never good enough. That is the same lesson but said differently. So it is, as we said, you tried your best every hour, every minute you worked on this project, but you nitpick on this thing or that thing. This thing or that thing wasn't exactly right. Well, no, but if you tried your best every minute and every hour you worked on that project, given the breaks you need to maintain your productivity, then how much more could you give to the project? Is there something more than your best? On the earth plane, there are some of these what you call memes that says you must give 110%. Yes, perhaps there is some wisdom to that. But what if the 10% causes you to dishonor yourself? Because the overworking is tough on your body, because the overworking gives you a negative psychology, because the overworking makes you inherently feel bad about yourself. You give it 100% and you need 101. You give it 101% and you need 102. You give it 102% and you need 110. You give it 110% and you need 120. When will it end? When will it end? We will tell you to give it 100% and leave it at that. And when you do, your capabilities will increase such that what used to be your 100% will now be your 90%, such that your 100% now will be your old 110%. And that's really the true meaning of that meme. It is not to overgive in any moment, but to give it your 100%. So at the next time, that 100% is only your 90%, such that your new 100% would be your new 100% will be your old 110%. Do you see what we're saying? You want to elicit growth naturally, not force growth and then have you burn out. You want to elicit growth naturally and not force yourself to burn out. So how do you give 100% and have it be okay? How do you try your best and have it not be okay? And this is the issue of perfectionism, you see. When there is perfectionism, it's never enough. 100 is never enough, so you need 101, you do 101, you need 102. It's never enough. You can't ever be okay with where you're at. In other words, you never honor what your best is. You never honor what your best is. You never honor that this is your 100%. There must always be more. You give more and you need more. This is a complex soul fragmentation, you see. Because in this soul fragmentation, there are two soul fragments. And this is what we call a negative karmic hook. And that's why for many of you, transmuting this soul fragmentation is so difficult. This is what we call, again, a negative karmic hook. Because there are two soul fragments here that are feeding off of each other's soul lesson. There are two soul fragments here that are feeding off of each other's soul lesson. The first soul fragment is one in which is a soul fragment that wants to please. They want to give their 100% and they want to be honored for it. But they can't honor themselves unless some third party honors them. So they do, and they'll do whatever it takes for you to validate them. In other words, they need validation. They need some third party's validation. The second soul fragment in this soul lesson is one in which nothing is ever good enough. Nothing is ever good enough. And because nothing is ever good enough, you give them 100, they want 101. You give them 101, they want 102, and on and on and on. And they don't care when you burn out. There's no end to their expectation. You put these two soul fragments in one soul lesson, and you can see how quickly it will turn into self-hate. The one who needs validation as the soul fragment for which is never good enough for that validation, and that soul fragment always, always, always will withhold it. And as they withhold it, they expect more. The soul fragment that's a people pleaser gives more. And the soul fragment for which is never good enough will keep on withholding the validation. And if this spins long enough, it turns into self-hate. This spins long enough, it turns into self-hate. Because the first soul fragment that's a people pleaser begins to resent the second fragment for withholding validation, and then they begin to stop working, and the soul fragment for which it's never good enough begins to judge the soul fragment, who at some point will stop working because they're burnt out, and that resentment will build within them. They are resentful. You're never good enough. What a loser. And they spin and they spin and they spin until there's self-hate within your energetic system, because these two aspects of you, these two soul fragments are aspects of you. So they are you. And in the midst of them hating one another for whatever it is they're withholding from each other, you begin to hate yourself. So what is the antidote of getting off this treadmill of a negative karmic hook? The antidote is to work on one soul fragment at a time. So it is to utilize the methods we have taught you in the channel's website to then deal with the soul fragmentation, that is a people pleaser, and the soul fragmentation for which it's never good enough. You deal with them one at a time, and as you deal with them one at a time, then the other begins to lose energy in you, and they will go home they will be reintegrated to the whole much more easily than if you kept them spinning with each other. So that is that. So the last thing we want to teach you is the last major root cause of a difficulty claiming your worthiness is what we will call self-hate. So it is that we gave you one iteration in our last example of how self-hate can breed into your energetic system. But there's another way in which you can breed self-hate, and this is what we will explain to you at this moment. Another way you can breed self-hate is for you to be the second soul fragment we spoke of. It's for you to tell yourself whatever you've done is never good enough. So there's several aspects to this. One, it could be that you work a 12-hour day and there's never any honoring from you for that. That is one way to tell yourself it's never good enough. So that is a way you tell yourself it's not good enough, through silence, through inaction. Another way to say something is not good enough is then to say, this is good, I've done good, but this, and this is wrong with this project, with this outcome, with this product, whatever it is that you have built and are proud of. And this is a kind of nitpicking. It is that maybe this, and this Is not even core to the thing that you're building. Is not even core to the thing you're building, but you make it bigger than it is. You make it so big that it negates the energy you've created by being proud of yourself for creating this thing. You make these little things so big, these little imperfections, that you negate the energy you have acquired by building this thing. So we hope you see that your overreaction to the imperfection is gargantuan. It's huge. It's so huge that it negates the positive energy that you have acquired by building the thing. You make too much of a big deal of it, and at some point the inner child in you is going to rebel, and it will say enough is enough, and it will avoid assisting you with any of your goals until you learn to honor yourself. Another way self-hate looks like is when you're in a relationship with anyone, whether it be a friendship, a romantic relationship, a family relationship, or whatever the case may be, and you have difficulty honoring them. You did good, but why did you get a B, not an A? You did good, but the font of the footnote is different from the font of the entire document. You did good, but the color of the wheels is not completely black. As it should have been, it is slightly charcoal gray. So this is a variation of the second way, in the second example in which we teach you how self-hate breeds itself. You see, your judgments of other people are mirrors of yourself. Your judgments of other people are mirrors of yourself. And you make the imperfection bigger than the energy of the relationship when they told you that thing for which they're proud of. You see, they told you they're proud of something because on some level they trust you, or there is enough of a resonance in the relationships, enough of a resonance in the relationship such that they want you to know, and they are honoring you by sharing that energy with you. When you dishonor them by nitpicking on something so small, it is that you negate that gift, and it causes karma onto the body. Causes karma onto the body. So it is, if you really feel like it should have been black and not charcoal gray, then it's simply to say it like an observation. But if it's not an observation and it's a deep judgment, and you repeat it over and over again, such that the deep judgment of something of something that should have been considered a minutia of the entirety of the project, if it's such a big deal to you, then you need to begin to look into yourself and what is that soul fragmentation that can honor other people, for which you can't say you did good, you did enough. It must be you did good, but you did this wrong and it's a really big deal to me. And that's what you're really saying to the other person. So work on that within yourself. Because if you're doing it to somebody else, you're doing it to the inner child within. If you're doing it to somebody else, you're doing it to the inner child within. It is not as if the person who made the wheels charcoal gray and not black, it's not as if they are not aware that they missed that particular thing. Perhaps they ran out of time. Perhaps it slipped their mind. Whatever the case may be, they're likely not aware of what they did. For you to pick at it, and pick at it, and pick at it, says something about your own soul lessons and your own soul fragmentation. So that is that. So now what do you do with all these examples we have given you? If you see yourself In any of these examples, it's important not to judge yourself. It's important not to judge yourself. That you're aware of it, that you become aware of it, means you are moving forward and you're ascending through your timeline. That you're becoming aware of it means you are moving forward and you're ascending through your timeline. So good. So the anecdote to begin to claim your worthiness, so that you no longer feel this thing is too expensive for me, or that job makes too much money for me, or whatever the case may be, is to begin to deal with these soul fragmentations and to begin to change the pattern to the pattern of these soul fragmentations to a pattern that is more compatible with your soul note. Your soul note is pure love, you understand. So anything less than pure love for someone or for yourself is a soul fragmentation and will not be tolerated by your high self. So give yourself that self-love. And when you give yourself that self-love, by integrating these soul fragmentations we are discussing with you, you will begin to be able to claim your worthiness to overcome what you call poverty consciousness. So that is that. All right. So it looks like Xavier is now going to come through. We honor you for listening to this message in its entirety. So it is that Seraphim, the guidees, angelic guides, have taught you how to overcome poverty consciousness. What we will teach you is then how to begin to manifest as you overcome poverty consciousness. So Seraphim taught you that poverty consciousness is in essence a difficulty claiming your worthiness. Poverty consciousness is in essence a difficulty claiming your worthiness. And they have given you the major soul fragmentations that would cause a difficulty in claiming your worthiness. And this is what you call on your plane poverty consciousness. So it is not the case that you must overcome poverty consciousness in its entirety before you can truly manifest. So let us say you want a job. So let us say you want a particular job, and the size of the salary intimidates you. You don't think you're worthy for that salary. Now, we're not giving you a scenario in which you don't have the skill set for that salary. We're giving you a scenario in which you have the skill set for that salary, but you don't feel worthy of it. Or you believe you don't have the skill set for that salary because you don't feel worthy of it. So you decide, well, I'm a good project manager, but I'm not that kind of project manager. Or it is that there is one thing missing in the job description for which you're a little bit weakened. And that is not a core purpose of the job. And you still decide you're not good enough for it. So how do you overcome how you truly feel about something and manifest at the same time? And that's what we will teach you in this message. So it is that healing and manifestation happens in concert, synchronous to one another. We will repeat that because it's very important. It is that healing happens synchronously to manifestation. They go together like peas in a pod, like a left shoe and a right shoe. So let us say you're looking at this job description and you meet 80% of it. We see that that's about, for job applicants, for job job applicants, that's about the amount of all the skill sets that they have. It's about 80 to 85%. But it is that you take that 20 to 15% and you use that as a reason not to apply. And you may be really good at the core functions of the job, but you say, oh, I'm not enough. I don't have the 15%. I don't have the 20%, or whatever the case may be. So at that moment in time, when you have that objection to yourself, it is for you to go in and to integrate the one who fixates on the 15 to 20%. Which soul fragmentation that Seraphim has taught you fixates on the 15 to 20%. And begin to integrate that. When you begin to feel neutral, because you have fully integrated the soul fragmentation, you need to begin then to say this affirmation. I'm worthy of this job that I will be really good at. I am worthy of this job that I will be really good at. I honor that I will be good at this job. I honor that I will be really good at this job. Assist me in overcoming my objections to applying for this job. Assist me in overcoming my objections to applying for this job. And so it is. When you say those affirmations, your energy will be buoyed so that we clear out the energy that fixates on the 15 to 20%. And as we clear out that energy, we begin to set up the energy for you so that you can manifest having this job that you want. And over time, as you begin to say this affirmation, you will find that suddenly the $120,000 that you felt was too much to pay you, suddenly it just feels neutral. Suddenly it just feels neutral. Understand what we're not teaching you here. What we're not teaching you is to force yourself to be worthy of the $120,000. If there's a sense of pride, I'm worthy. I'm going to force myself to be worthy of the $120,000 a year that this job will pay me. If there's that kind of pride, you're forcing yourself. When you have integrated the soul fragment, engage with the affirmation we have given you, then over time, you will feel neutral about the $120,000 that the job pays. You will simply think it's a non-issue. Once you think it's a non-issue, then it is time for you to apply for that job. It is time for you to apply for that job. And when you apply for that job, say this affirmation. I affirm my worthiness to this job I applied for. I affirm my worthiness to this job I applied for. I honor that I will be very good at this job that I applied for. I honor that I will be very good at this job that I applied for. And so it is. That affirmation will further move the energy. And as that further moves the energy, then it begins to conspire on your favor for you to get that interview. When you get that interview, say the affirmation we have just said again, and it will move more energy. And as it moves more energy, you will feel more comfortable being in this interview. And whatever objections the interviewer may have, you will have good answers for it. And at any point in the process, if there are soul fragmentations that come forward, then it is to deal with those soul fragmentations in the way in which Seraphim has taught you, And there are also many resources we have already put forth in the channel's website. We will guide the channel to provide those resources for you in this course. So it is that it is not, manifestation is not as linear as some humans think it is. It is that you may feel discomfort, such that there's a fragmentation. Integrate that fragmentation. Take action towards your desired outcomes. Claim the energy, the synchronicity that comes when you say the affirmation. If another soul fragmentation should arise thereafter, integrate that soul fragmentation. As you integrate that soul fragmentation, then it is to say the second affirmation. And as you say the second affirmation, claim the synchronicity that comes forward when you have said the affirmation. And should a soul fragment rise up, deal with that integration. And then say the second affirmation again until you have gotten your desired outcome of that job. There will be variations of this affirmation that we will give to the channel after this message for other kinds of manifestations that you wish. But it is that our core point here is that manifestation doesn't happen in a vacuum like many of you think. It is not that you heal and then you can manifest. It is that you heal and you manifest synchronous to one another. This is how the energy truly works in the matrix. You see it as a step by step. This thing happens and that thing happens. This thing happens and that thing happens. And we understand that that's part of the linearity of time of Earth. But from our perspective as guides, we see it as happening synchronous to one another. And for your perspectives as souls incarnate in a human body, energetically, it also happens synchronously. Your healing is aided by your manifestation, and your manifestation is healing by your manifestation is aided by your healing. Again, your manifestation is aided by your healing, and your healing is aided by your manifestation. They work together like a left shoe and a right shoe works together, like a peas and a pod work together. So, that concludes our teaching for this moment. Again, we will give you variations of the affirmations we have given you after this message has been concluded for the major types of manifestations that you would like to have as you overcome what is called in your plane as poverty consciousness. We will conclude this message as we conclude every message, and that is to call on our energies anytime you need support, and it will be so. And so it is. All right, it looks like end of message. We'll see you in the next teaching.